Welcome to this video. This is going to be a little bit different than some of the content I normally post. I'm literally just going to be just completely raw, pressing the record button, and whatever I say is whatever I say. So I kind of wanted this video to be more real, more natural, and just talk about some specific stuff that I want you guys to know about my trading, some hurdles that I was able to get through over time, how I was able to get there, how I was able to scale, and just a little bit about my journey, and just kind of share with you guys some knowledge that I would like you guys to have as well. So a little bit of like a backstory. Started trading freshman year of high school. Ended up losing money for around 3 years, lost around $25,000-$30,000 in those first 3 years. Ended up becoming profitable. The first year that I was profitable, I made $330,000. The year after that, also made another $300,000. This is now going into that fifth year. So, or I'm now going into the sixth year. Sorry, I was confused on that. I want to talk about some struggles that I had along the way that I think a lot of you guys can benefit from. During my first 1-2 years into trading, I was like a lot of people that get into the trading space. A lot of the time they're on social media, on Twitter, on Instagram, looking at a lot of other traders. And at that point, you have to be very careful, because a lot of people don't realize that they end up cheating themselves by doing this. And what that thing is I cared more about being perceived as profitable than actually being profitable at that point in time. Because I would go on Twitter, I would go on Instagram after a day of being read, and I would look at social media and see all of these people who are making money, and I would look at myself and say, what is wrong with me? Like, why can't I do this? Am I not good enough? All these other people can do it. Why can't I do it? I started caring more about that idea of just being profitable instead of actually being profitable. And especially when you're constantly looking at social media and you're looking at all these YouTubers and all these traders, some of these motherfuckers, and you want that feeling. And I cared more about being perceived as profitable. So what would happen is I would make the same mistakes over and over and over again, but yet I wouldn't take any accountability before it, because I had a vision in my mind of me being profitable without actually being profitable. And that was the problem. I cared more about people perceiving me as profitable than actually being profitable, and I ended up cheating myself because of it. So the people that are on social media, you're normal. Do not compare yourself to other people. Every single person is on their own journey. Everybody is on their own step. You cannot compare your step 25 with somebody else's step 250. You guys are on completely unique journeys. You guys have completely unique experiences, and there is no reason you should be comparing them whatsoever. So the main thing you should just be focusing on is, are you doing what you need to be doing? Because it's so easy to get caught up in looking at social media. You want to post, your winnings. You want to be like, oh, look at this trade I took. Look at this money I'm making. Just don't cheat yourself. Do not post stuff just because you need validation from other people. And that was the problem I had. Is very early on in my trading, I didn't get like validation from my parents, anybody that and this is also why I say don't tell people that you fucking trade, because my parents kind of told me not to do it. My parents were like, you shouldn't be doing this. My friends were like, what the fuck are you doing? So anything that was outside was completely negative. And when I went into the market and I was losing, it felt fucking terrible, because I knew that I was losing when everybody else told me that this was going to happen, and it just pissed me the fuck off. So I cared more about getting that validation from somewhere else than actually doing the work to be profitable. And it took me probably a year for me to sit down and realize that that was an actual problem, for me to like take full accountability, push my ego to the side and say, why do I care more about this than actually making the decisions to do so, right? And that's the thing about a trader and trading in general, is this is one of the only jobs where it is literally just you. You have to have an insane level of self-accountability, self-recognition, that you know your emotions that you are having, you know the problems you are having, and being able to sit down with yourself and say, you know what, I can't be doing this anymore. I can't be making this mistake. And that takes a lot of time for you to get to that point of mental maturity as a trader, as an individual, for you to recognize that and actually change it is the biggest part. Because a lot of people are living a false reality. Again, like I said, people care more about being perceived than actually being profitable. And it took me a long time for me to realize I was doing that. And when I did, it made me improve as a trader because I was actually taking the problems that I was having seriously. And some of those problems that I was having at the time was, number one, before I started trading ICT, because I started trading ICT around 2.5 years, 2 years after I started trading. And during that early time period, like my first year, 2 years, I was more trading like supply and demand, just shit concepts that just did not work. But the experience was good because I was able to lose money, which is honestly a good experience to have as a trader. You need to learn how to lose money. You need to become desensitized to it. That's just a part of trading. And that's also a part of scaling as a trader, because recently I was talking to my community and I also did a post on Twitter about it. But how I basically go about scaling and how I was able to get to that, mark where it's like, Justin, how did you go from just unprofitable to $300,000 a year? Like, how is that even possible? And it has to do with how I was able to scale. Number one is being completely unattached to money whatsoever. The switch of what made me unprofitable to profitable, the biggest thing where it's like, Justin asked me, it's like, what was your aha moment that made you profitable? The biggest thing I could say, number one, it wasn't one specific thing. It was a lot of things, working together. But it was not a strategy. It was not an idea. It was simply a mental shift. And that mental shift is, most of you care more about the idea of making money than actually making that money. And actually making that money comes from building good habits and actually trading well. So when you go into the market focusing on making money, all of what happens is completely out of the window. All of the actual process itself is out of the window because you're not focusing on the process. It's just like you go into the gym with the mindset of, I need to get a six-pack, but you're not actually doing the workouts to get a six-pack. That is basically the problem. Is you're going into the market with the mindset of, I need to take a trade and it's going to make me money. And in reality, that mindset you need to have is you need to not give a fuck about money, losing it, making it, whatever. You need absolutely no attachment to it whatsoever, because money has really nothing to do with trading whatsoever. Money has literally nothing to do with trading. Trading is about applying a system with risk, with habits that are going to control yourself over time and have a longevity structural foundation that can protect you over time. It is not about money. It has nothing to do with money. It has everything to do with you being a decision maker and applying risk to those decisions. Because what happens is you become more focused on the outcome than the actual process itself. And when you're not focused on the process itself, how the fuck can you expect to get to the outcome? You're mental masturbating on your fucking self, thinking about, oh my God, how much money I'm gonna make, without actually doing the things you need to be doing to get to that point. It's ridiculous. And it's not ridiculous because, it's ridiculous, but I fucking was doing the same thing too at that point in time in my trading. So keep that in mind. Do not be focused on making money, because the biggest part about scaling, and if you do want to make money, if you really want to make $100,000, $200,000, $500,000, $1 million, when you get to 6 figures to 7 figures, you need to have a complete disconnect to money, because when you start working with that level of size is when your emotions can go out of control when you're not in control of yourself, right? And a part of getting to that point in scaling is getting to the point where you're comfortable with whatever that size is and you're comfortable with losing that money. And it becomes a lot easier when you're comfortable with losing that money when you've already been consistently building the habits to be disconnected from it in the first place. So one thing about scaling that I was talking about on Twitter earlier too is the way that I go about it is I have a mental trash bin in my head. I pick a number, and then again, if you want to do big boy numbers in trading, this is how you have to do it. Pick a number in your head that you are comfortable with fucking lighting on fire in cash. Say that's 20 grand, 10 grand. Again, this is if you want to scale, if you want to get to like big boy numbers. You have to be so disconnected, meaning whatever that money you are risking in the first place when you up your size is already fucking gone. Lit that shit on fire. If I was to tell you, dude, $20,000 just got stripped from your account, you have to be okay with being like, all right, I can make it back, whatever. That is the level of disconnect you have to have. So when I go about scaling, I'll basically say, okay, I want to be trading 8 to 10 contracts, right? That I want that to be my full size or whatever it is. And I'm going to say, okay, I want to be, getting comfortable with that size for at least about a month to 2 months. So I have to say, okay, if I was to have a bad month or a bad 2 months, what would that normal loss look like? So do the calculations. Look at the trades that you normally would take with whatever the normal size that you have is. Then put on the new size and test, okay, how much would I be losing on this actual setup? And then what you're going to do is you're going to calculate the risk, calculate the difference, and say, okay, if I was to really have bad losing days in a bad month, in a bad 2 months, how much money am I losing that is in my trash bin? So for me, I'm saying, okay, 50K. I'm good with 50K. We're in my, not a whole account, but 50K worth of that I'm willing to lose in that scale period. Because if I'm scaling, I need a period of like 1 month where I need to get comfortable with trading that. And I'm willing to put 50K on, and that's gone. Because basically the benefit of doing that is what you're doing is when you go into sizing up and you actually get to that point where you press the button and you see your P&L and you're looking at, oh shit, normally my loss is like $2,000 and now it's fucking $6,000, $8,000, right? Now you have to get to a point where it's like, okay, I need to realize what this is. And number one, you shouldn't really be jumping that much size anyway. You should be upping like 1 contract at a time, 2 contracts, right? So the size difference shouldn't be that big. But you want to get comfortable with it. And this is honestly more talking about scaling to bigger numbers, not like micros and stuff. This is honestly more psychology for scaling bigger numbers. But get to a point where you're able to comfortable with it, but you need a mental trash bin of cash where you understand that you are totally fine with losing it. Because a big part of trading, 90%, 80%, is psychology. It is all mental. It is being able to understand yourself as a trader, as a person, and understanding how that is going to affect you in your actual trading when it comes to your system. So when it comes to scaling, I pick a number, I'm okay with 50K losing, and I go into the trade already accepted that all that money is lost. So I go into the day right when I start and I up my size, I'm going into it knowing that I could lose like 50 trades in a row, and I've already, or not 50, but I would say like 20 trades in a row, and I've already accepted I've lost like 50K, right? So right when I click that button, the new size does not mean anything to me because I've already made the mental switch before putting myself in the environment to do it where I'm adapted to the environment now, right? It is a mental game. You tweak how you think about whatever the environment you're putting yourself into. So by the time you get there, it is not as much as a surprise as it would be if I was to just go in, click the fucking button and say, all right, I just upped my size by four contracts, boom. And then I'm put in this situation, I'm like, oh my fucking God, I'm down like $3,000 right now. I'm not used to this. And then you make a rational decision. You say, okay, I'm going to take it off here. I can't. You don't trust your stop loss. You don't trust your price target. And then you end up building bad habits because you're more focused on making money, more focused on losing money than actually doing what you need to be doing, right? You break your rules because you're afraid to lose money, or you're up on it and you can't hold it too much, right? That's another side of it too, is you're in more contracts. So when we end up getting maybe halfway to your price target, you're already up what you normally would be up on a fucking regular trade, and you end up taking it early because you don't trust the actual process, right? You're afraid to give that money back instead of trusting the actual chart itself because you're more focused on the money than the actual chart. And again, that is literally the number one reason why I always say, the biggest advice I will always say, and pretty much every one of my videos and every single day I say this to my students, the biggest advice that I can always say in trading, and the always thing that you should be repeating to yourself every single day, is I need to be focused on building good habits, not making money. Be focused on building good habits. Do not be focused on making money. And one thing I want you also to think about, and what people don't realize, why the thought of making money is the cause of all your problems. Listen, I'm gonna explain this. Every problem that you have in trading, every single one, always reverts back. If you were gonna go in a chain and say, okay, this caused me to do this caused me to do this, and then I ended up losing this money, whatever it is, right? You're gonna go back to the source of whatever that idea is. It comes back to you being in the headspace and the mindset of making money. That is the problem. Every single problem that you have, whether it be, oh, I overtraded. Okay, why did you overtrade? Let's say maybe you were down in the morning and you were trying to make that money back. Okay, boom, making money, problem. Oh, my problem was I was FOMO. I saw the trade go out and I had the fear of missing out. Okay, you have a fear of not making that fucking money, so you jumped in way too late. Wow, you're focused on making money. Every problem that you have is going to revert back to that one mindset. So until you realize that you need to completely flip that fucking switch and completely move your mind in a different environment and can be completely disconnected from whatever you're trading, you're not going to get to a point of consistency, because that always little background itch that you're going to have when you're trading size and you're trading your capital and you're not comfortable with it and you're not focused on good habits and actually the setup itself, you're always going to make irrational decisions. And that's just the reality of it. You have to get into a point where you're comfortable with whatever you're losing and you're able to just continue to do it consistently. And when it comes to upping your size, you have a mental trash bin. That trash bin, you're ready to light on fucking fire, and you go to it. You get to fucking work. Another thing that I also would say in my journey was a big part as well is journal like your life fucking depends on it. Like, actually journal like your life depends on it. Every single trade that you take, you need to be asking yourself, what am I doing right? What am I doing wrong? What do I need to fix? Because a lot of people too will come to me and they'll say, Justin, I'm at a break-even stage, right? For all of the people that are watching this that are at a break-even stage, this is what you need to be doing. How do I get out of the break-even stage, Justin? I'm going to tell you right now. The way to get out of the break-even stage is journaling. Because break-even is a fantastic point to be. Because all it takes is one little change in your trading for that P&L to just continue to go straight up, right? You just need one little tweak. And a lot of the times what I find with a lot of students that are at break even is most of the common problem with people that are break even is the only thing holding them back from making money is they just take unnecessary small losses. They'll have like great win, and then they'll take like 3 shitty trades with like low, and then it'll just chip away at that profit. And they just can't control it. And that's a problem that you only get to see from journaling. Because without you actually taking the time to acknowledge saying, okay, this is the problem, right? I need to actually assess saying, hey, this is the problem. I know this from journaling every single fucking day, right? Without you doing that, you're never going to know your own personal problems. Again, trading is fucking you versus you. There is no one else that is going to make the decisions for you. There is no one else that's going to tell you what your problem is unless you go to a mentor, unless you come to me and you say, hey, Justin, let's look at this journal. And I'm going to say, okay, let's go through this together. Let's figure out what the problem is, and we can figure that out. But unless you have a mentor, you need to fucking ask yourself these questions. You need to do the work, because it won't do it for you. And then you make the same mistakes over and over again saying, Justin, what am I doing wrong? What am I doing wrong? It's because you aren't taking the actual fucking decision to change the problem. Most of you know what the problem is. This is the overall bigger problem. Most of you know what the problem is. You just don't fix it. You just don't fix it. I'm sorry to say, you just don't fix it. You want to know why you don't fix it? Because you're fucking focused on making money. That is why you don't fix it. Because you are focused on making money every single day that you come into the market. You're like, oh, just check my Twitter. You know, we're bumping fucking house music. I'm looking at all this shit. I'm ready to get money. I'm ready to fucking do all this shit. Brother, what are you hyping yourself up for? You are in the negative right now. What's going on here? And then you go in with the mindset of fucking, I'm so excited to send this screenshot of my P&L to my best friend and let him know I'm making all this money. And then you go in taking a bunch of shit setups because you went into the day fucking expecting all of these great things. What the fuck? You set yourself up for failure, and most of you guys don't realize you're doing this. So keep that in mind. Anyway, recognize your fucking faults is what I'm saying. Recognize that you are not perfect. I am not perfect. But guess what? We can damn near be pretty fucking perfect sometimes, all right? With trading. You just got to be put in the fucking work to do it. If you want to be a big boy, if you want to make money, that is what you must do. If you don't, that's fine. That's fine. You don't have to get to that point, but if you want to be any sort of successful or any sort of consistency with trading, you need to get to that point of mental mastery, and you need to be focused on switching your mindset to building good habits and getting satisfaction from building good habits. That is the number one thing. Is you might say, hey, Justin, I'm focused on building good habits. No. It needs to be your environment. It needs to be, you need to completely reprogram yourself. You need satisfaction from building good habits. That is what you need. When I wake up now and where I'm at as a trader after so long and after getting to this point, I could give less of a fuck how much I make, how much I lose. Because guess what? Over time, I have the rules, the habits, the strategy in place to protect myself and make me money in the long run. And guess what? You want to know how I got to that point? Because I programmed myself to get satisfaction out of doing what I need to be doing. If I make money, but I broke all of my rules, I'm going to say, Justin, this money is not fucking yours. Why are you happy that you made money? If I lost money and I did everything I was supposed to do, traded a great setup, great risk, everything I was looking for, A+ setup, I'm going to say, Justin, that was a fucking fantastic loss. Let's go. Because I did everything I needed to do. That is what got me success. That is how I was able to be successful, because I programmed my mind to get satisfaction from building good habits, not making money. And when you're focused on not making money, you are actually focused on the fucking process and not the outcome. Guess what? What happens when you're focused on the process? You get the outcome. Oh my God, isn't that fucking wild? And this goes with every single thing in life. If you are focused on finding love, guess what? You're not gonna find love. You're gonna find love when you're being focused on yourself, and it's gonna happen. When you're focused on getting a fucking six-pack and you're just sitting there, you know, fucking whatever the fuck you're doing, and you're not actually focused on every single workout, crunching the fucking muscle, pushing it to the test, the actual process, okay? You're not gonna see the results. Same thing with trading. So please, I know you know what the problem is. And if you don't, that's fine. But guess what? You want to know how you're going to know how to figure out what that problem is? By journaling. So just go journal, please. Go journal. And another thing as well is making money does not mean that you are doing something right, and losing money does not mean that you are doing something wrong. So many people, especially newer traders, will come into the market, they'll make money and be like, oh, let's go. Just made some fucking moolah. No, brother, you did not make moolah, because guess what? The market's going to take that right back. Because you have no habits in place that are going to protect it from you losing all of that money. Losing money does not mean you're doing something wrong. Making money does not mean you're doing something right. Recognize, are the habits and the decisions that you are making right? Are you using your proper size? Guess what? If you over leverage and you end up making money and you come to me and say, Justin, look how much fucking money I made, and then you're going to say, oh, you know, I did over leverage though. I'm going to say, that money's not yours. What are you happy about? What are you happy about? Think about it. That money is not yours. You want to know why it's not yours? Because you don't have the habits in place to keep it. Trading is not about making money. It's about keeping that money, okay? When you don't have the habits in place to keep that money, it's not yours. And then you start trading like it is yours. You ever find that you get on a win streak for like a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and then you blow up in like fucking 3 days? Because most of the time, that money you're making, you're not making it the correct way. You're getting either lucky, or you've been building all the habits that aren't protecting you from when that time does arise. Because guess what? The market is not going to be just super fucking click bunny easy every goddamn day. It's not. There's going to be hard days. There's going to be hard conditions. You're not going to be able to read the market. And guess what? The habits that you should be building every single day are in place to protect yourself from those inevitable days that will happen. And when it comes to that situation, you have the habits in place to know when you need to step away. Hey, I can recognize this is low conditions. I'm going to lower my size today, and I'm going to fucking follow it, okay? And I'm not going to make dumb decisions. I know, guess what? Most of the people that go into a day like that are focused on, guess what? If it has the opportunity to make me money, I'm going to take it. That's what most of you guys are thinking like. Instead of being, guess what? You're paid for your decisions, brother. You're paid for your decisions, not your time. You should be sitting in front of the market for 5 hours straight and not take a trade if you know what you're looking for and you can recognize the conditions. But most of you have those 3 blow-up days because you don't have the habits in place to know when to step away, when to recognize you're wrong, when to admit that your bias is wrong, whatever your ego is. Again, you don't have to be right to make money, okay? Completely, you are just an observer. You're not a person, okay? You as a trader are not a person. You are an observer and a risk taker. That is it. You have no connection to this whatsoever. You are just there pressing fucking monkey buttons. Use the knowledge you know and have no connection to it whatsoever. Sorry for the wind. I'm in Sardinia right now. I really wanted to record this video, but I knew it was probably gonna be fucking windy, so I'm sorry. But I'm probably gonna end the video here, even though I want to keep talking, but it is getting windy, so I plan on doing another video like this. If you enjoy these kind of just more real one-on-one talks, let me know, and I'll plan to do more of them. I really enjoy this, honestly. Just like just saying whatever comes to mind. It's kind of more real. I like it. Let me know if you guys like it. Comment, subscribe, whatever, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.